statewide level, the town level. And you can also view things over time. So this will be useful, like we're thinking in terms of like, okay, new solar permits around the state. Well, we can show the data between 2012 and now and see if it really shows a big drop-off after the latest legislation on net metering and the rebates and all that. So you can actually see the impact of policies over time. And we're expecting that to launch in February. Here's another screenshot of that. So this is once again Act 174 of how you can use the mapping. We made it now that one of the requests we have when I was going around the state talking to energy committees is the ability to save maps and return to them later. That's now implemented on the site. You can also share a map with someone else and they could pick up and work on it, which will also be useful if it's an entire committee working on energy planning. Mapping. We added all the Act 174 constraints, the known constraints and the possible constraints. Can't really see it up there, but that's something that's essential for creating your energy plan. I mentioned the sharing and collaborating. We are also hoping to add another tab to the community section of different programs available in your community. So like, is the Heat Saver loan available? Or is this a community that Vital Communities works in and is doing a weatherized program? So just a way to make the community, the My Community page more of a catch-all for things happening, making it something useful for energy committees to point people to. It's almost like their own website. Apologize. I'd say I would move this back, but I don't think it's going to get any clearer. So there's a lot happening. We were also talking about an affiliates program where different organizations can have on the atlas a little icon that says that, oh, we've done this in this town. Or even like opening it up to businesses in addition to organizations, of being able to show of like, okay, well, these are all of the solar installations that were done by Suncommon. Here's what was done by Native Energy, to really sort it at a more detailed level.
Rob, can you put it back in viewer mode? Would that help?
I didn't realize I was still in this. I apologize. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see if that helps things. I got to get back to my slide, but yeah, that might make it a little easier.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I was looking at my screen. Yeah, is that easier to see? Great. This is video, isn't it?
No, these little things make videos much more interesting.
Until they notice it's not in viewer form.
It's not in viewer form, yes.
That's why you're confused about tabs.
That's tabs. I was like, wait a second here. I'm seeing this up here and not seeing the tabs. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, the pathways, you can see this wording a little bit better now. I'm just going to click through the slides. They're still not all that clear, but mapping, where are we at the end here? I think we're almost to the end here, but all the different constraints. And once again, I try to end every workshop on the dashboard of what it is and what it isn't. It's not perfect. We're using the best data available. We're going to be bringing in the data from 2016, hopefully by early next year, to update the timeline. The CPG data is what populates the Energy Atlas, so all the solar sites. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit outdated right now. The update will be coming before the end of hopefully before the end of this year.
And the wood heat sites that use CPG, I mean, there's a school in Brattleboro that's going into its second winter and it's not on there yet.
It's not on there yet.
No.
So we have a lot of those from other sites. I'll check on that why that's not on there. Find out, but yeah, if you want dashboard training or if you want a refresher, we've changed a lot of things since I've been back to some of these. I don't mind making another visit or having someone else do that too. Come down, send Ian down here.
It may very well be.
We shall see. We're working a few things out. So real quick, I want to turn it back over to, go for it, Ian.
Yeah, no, I mean, y'all did a great job. So yeah, no, thank you so much, Jennifer and Rob. The last thing we want to put on y'all's radar screen is that there are a couple of events coming up in addition to our conference that I think you guys might be interested in. First is this gathering by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, which is their local government day workshop. And they're talking about Vermont climate action communities. And that's going to be on February 15th. More information coming. And then I believe Zach had another event to talk about.
It's in the planning phases right now, and honestly, I'm not even sure who's working on it with us. I know Vermont League of Cities and Towns is one group we'd like to work with. I attended an Efficiency Vermont sponsored event at Killington Grand. It was for local businesses about different resources that Efficiency Vermont offers in terms of programs like energy audits, lighting design, very specific things of how businesses can reduce their energy consumption, carbon footprint. I was super inspired by it and realized that we needed more technical conferences like these for our municipalities. And so I'm working with Paul Markowitz at Efficiency Vermont and I guess the Vermont League of Cities and Towns to offer a similar type of conference specifically for municipal leaders, select boardmen, energy committees. And the goal will be my ultimate goal would be that we're focusing on how does a community, and there will be a lot after this next town hall meeting, that will be committing towards either 90 or 100% renewable by 2050. So what are the tools that already and currently exist in the state to get us there? Working from energy audits and efficient buildings, as well as wastewater treatment facilities, making them more efficient, or converting them to anaerobic digesters, how municipalities can access renewable energy through power purchase agreements. Very, very specific technical information is the goal anyways, but still in the planning phases. Keep your eye out for it, and hopefully, I think Paul was talking about doing several of these regional workshops. I wanted to make sure the Upper Valley was first, so.
The last thing I'll say is that, VECAN is a resource for all of these things, be it the Pledge Coalition and the dashboard. We definitely want to help our partners use these tools as effectively as possible. So if you can think of any ways in which VECAN can help communities participate, please let us know. Any questions you have on it, let us know. And if we don't know the answers, we know people that do.
We are also still getting still requesting stories from towns to have up on the dashboard, and Ian here loves calling up random people and doing interviews
One of my
and
favorite things.
sneaking around and getting a photo and whatever.
Absolutely, yeah, no, one of the things we want to use the dashboard for is to highlight inspirational stories. And as energy leaders here, you guys know the people that are putting things on the ground, that are making things happen. We want to make sure that other people know about that too. So I would love to help tell those stories and make sure that people know that they're not alone, that there are awesome things that their neighbors are doing, and then maybe they can do them too. Thank you guys so much. Any questions?
Any other questions?
Well, I had a quick question. Actually, and Linda, because I didn't realize Norwich was also working on the Enhanced Energy Plan. Woodstock's working on it as well. And as I was looking at this, I wonder how the Energy Action Network Dashboard Energy Atlas map can help us with some of the language around preferred sites. Is that what you guys are working on, language right now, or
We're starting that planning process with help from Two Rivers.
Yes, yeah.
And so I don't know for sure. I certainly hope that we'll end up, doing that and designate. I would like to see us designate.
That's where we're at.
A dozen sites or something.
How do you designate, and can we use the atlas to help identify those sites?
You can certainly use the atlas to help identify the sites. I can show you just an example right now. We have a few minutes. I can also come down and walk you through it. But we are also looking to add additional layers. Like a lot of the preferred sites are schools or transfer stations or closed dumps or large parking lots. Like, we're working on getting the data so that we can have that in here. Right now, a lot of what's on the atlas shows you where you can't put things.
Well, that's okay too, because that's part of the.
It's part of the planning, but we'd love for you to be able to just click this button to show what should be preferred sites in your town. Print, save, print. Like,
that would be phenomenal.
That's what we would like to do, but we're not there. We're not there yet. But here, I'll go to the atlas right now, and let's go. Let's pick a random town. Let's say we are in Chelsea, just for the heck of it. search. So the first thing that comes up here that would be helpful, these are all the different sites in the community. These are just the solar sites. This is also under community statistics. And we're going to be adding quite a few new ones onto this. So part of Act 174 requires you to do an inventory of what's there already in terms of energy. And it also breaks it down by different types of sites. So going back to the atlas itself though, under layers here, you can pull up all sorts of the different, still not very great up there, but the solar LiDAR data. We expect to have it for the entire state soon. It's only in certain areas right now. Access to three-phase lines.
Solar LiDAR?
Solar LiDAR. And that's like the really detailed, yeah, you can't see anything up there. Really detailed stuff. All the different known constraints, possible constraints, but we also have the parcel data for the entire state.
Oh, wow.
Which makes it really helpful for figuring out, like it doesn't show who owns what parcel, but at least what the boundaries are.
Is it fairly accurate? the
It's
parcels?
fairly accurate. Like they used it in Bennington to, what they did is I don't know if the screen is gonna be good enough, but they turned on, I don't think we have LiDAR data here. Okay. We do have the solar radiation data. This isn't quite as good, but let's look on here and, so say this area down here, so the yellow is the best place for solar according to this. So let's say we're going to see what this area is off of between 5 and 91. So first I put the solar radiation on. Then I'm going to put the parcel data to see if there's any. This might take a little while for it to load.
And we are at time, Rob.
We are at time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are at time right now, but it's going to take a little while for it to all load. Okay, there we go. So say we wanted to find out what was right here. So I'm just going to do a box around here. So you can literally draw a box. You can label it or whatever. You can measure. But the important thing is I'm going to check in all the different constraints.
Ooh.
So it's going to get really colorful, probably too colorful at this point. If I can figure out how to turn this off. Should have just done the measurement. But you can see if there's anything that's going to prevent you from doing it there. And so far, so good. We can also do the possible constraints and see, let's see about agriculture soils. Okay. So we can look over on the side over here, and it's not prime, but it's still something that might be a constraint to consider. Like maybe this isn't the greatest area, but you can decide to like, okay, well maybe it is in this case, and then you can actually measure. So I'm going to ignore this right here. I'm going to go back down here. Let's say, I know we're running out of time, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush here. So I'm going to create a new measurement, and let's see, let's start right, say it was going to be this field right here. Say we're going to go right up to the flood zone. And you'll see that this is 0.6 acres that you can designate. You can look at your own town maps and figure out who owns the property or what's there. You can also do an aerial view, because well, maybe this is something that's, like, the aerial view helps a little bit more. You can see what's open field and what's like,
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
what's trees.
Is the
And-
plan to own add property owner names at the end, Rob? Is that-
We've run into enough privacy issues
Yeah.
that's probably not one we're going to tackle.
no, be helpful, but yeah, I can see that. As being-
Yeah, that's an issue that we're having with all of our data stuff is how much we provide. Like with the solar sites, with any of these, it's all certificate of public goods, so it's public data.
Right.
But with all the stuff, all the data we're going to get from Efficiency Vermont, like they can't release individual property names, so that's why we're going to have to do heat maps for the number of. Okay. Yep.
Isn't that part of
We gotta go.
Though too? Oh, thank you.
So, and I will get this up on the dashboard, and I'll provide a link to the actual full presentation, so you can see things a little better than on the video and on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They should be somewhat aware of it, but they are not. That's the thing. Like, it's something like I'm sure they have their own mapping, but this is useful for like,
Because I
we've
can
been
give you a hard
talking to other possible funders, it's gonna be great for business development. If you're looking across the state, you'd be like, okay, well, no one's really working in this area, well, maybe I should start a solar company.
Hard questions. That's right. And you're confident and you can answer them, or if you don't know the answer, then you can think about it.
Thank you, Rob.
You're very welcome, Jen. We'll be in touch soon.
Yeah.